Hello, I'm called Tim. Sorry about the pause there. It's around noon, and that means that I am here for my live hangout, and I'm actually closer to noon time than usual. I realize I have to start setting up the hangout sometimes 10 minutes ahead of time. And my hangout is a gathering place, a space for ideas, a space where we can think and share with each other. That's all I've ever wanted to create for my community, and now I've done that. Um, this brings me to a point that I was thinking about earlier. I actually saw some video on. There's an article in the Atlantic magazine coming out talking about reparations and why dark people in the United States deserve reparations, and that needs to be put back on the table. And it occurred to me that the problem, and I've been focusing a lot more on literature and philosophers and trying to get people to study them. Books and movies and music and trying to get people to study them. But the main issue is trying to get people to shift their thinking from the material world or tangible to the intangible or immaterial world. And the immaterial world is the world that drives the material world. Everything you see, hear, feel, taste, touch is a consequence of what happens in the intangible world, the world of ideas, the world of the mind, the world of the subconscious, the unconscious, whatever you want to call it. And that plays in with this reparations. Now, we already received reparations, and I'll tell you how. At one point, we had our own institutions. Now, with this fake integration movement, we destroyed our institutions. So, my generation in the 80s went to college more than any generation of dark people in the United States history. And what the white society was doing was opening up or giving us access to information that we didn't have before. See, knowledge is the valuable thing here. But we didn't know. We thought that we were going to school so that we could get degrees and get jobs in their institutions. And that's not why we were allowed to go to their schools. And make no mistakes about it. If you're black and you have a degree, I don't care how brilliant you have your degree because white institutions allowed you to get it. Even if you go to an HBCU, that's funded mostly by white dollars. And I know what I'm talking about because I know people who are running an alumni for a HBCU and the struggle they have getting black people to fund the HBCU. It's mostly white liberal dollars. Some could be even white conservative dollars because they believe that people should be separate. Now, I believe that everybody should have their own institutions, but there is no real such thing as separate. We're always integrated. We're always together. We always were. The thing is, are we integrated where we have power over our condition? You have power over your condition. That ethnic group has power over their condition. Then we can come to the table together. And black people are not at that level. We're not there. And we're not there because when we came out of school, my generation, like I said, we went to get jobs. But we were supposed to come back and build the community. And we couldn't run out fast enough. And I know people who graduated from college who have gone much further than I did, who finished master's programs. I've been in a bunch of master's programs, but I didn't finish because I could see that I wasn't going to be able to use it to build my community. So I came here and started teaching like this. And these people who have masters and some PhDs that are dark, I know mostly people who completed master's programs. Actually, I know the top person who's a medical doctor. She runs an office. These people have no desire to help the dark group, the ethnic group, the community as a whole. They want to get for themselves. They want a McMansion. They want square footage. They want a big car. And that's what they're thinking about. But that's not why the white people exposed us to so much knowledge and information. This knowledge and information, we were supposed to use it to build ourselves up as a community. Most of us didn't even look at the knowledge and information. Because one thing you have to remember, these institutions were studying us and studying everything. So they had books in the libraries of colleges on everything from dark people to Native American people to Asian people to everything. They study the world. That's how white supremacy can dominate the world, because they study the world. Now they gave us access to this information. We were supposed to go through it, sift through it, get what we needed from it, and be able to stand on our own and regenerate our own information and our own institutions and our own codes of conduct. We didn't do that. We went out and got jobs. We got jobs and we got student loans. So we never went forward. We moved out of the neighborhood, which we left those who couldn't go to college to fend for themselves. Again, big mistake. So those people fell apart. We had no support, no floor, no bottom, or I shouldn't even say no bottom or no floor. That's not, it's a hierarchy. It's not really the way it should be. But we had no core to which we could express ourselves and expand from, because those people in the neighborhood were our core. They were the ones we were supposed to expand from, right? But to have that solid core that we can always refer back to. And we keep them strong so that we can expand further and further and further. And we all grow outward. We never did that. And so now we're at this point where we have degenerated to a point where black people have become almost abominations to nature. And this article is saying, well, maybe we need to just give the dark people reparations because they're suffering so badly. And I say, we got our reparations once, partial, and we didn't realize it. So let's say there's some funding and there's some policies geared toward us to try to help us get out of our pit that we're in. Will we understand that those policies are for us? Will we use them to get out of the pit? Because remember, if you don't fix the mind, if you don't fix the consciousness of the people, it doesn't matter what you give me. You can give me $1 million. You can give me $1 billion. I'll give you a perfect example. Oprah Winfrey and Jay-Z and Beyonce, they're all in the billionaires club. Even Tyler Perry. And let's just take Oprah and Tyler Perry. Both in the billionaires club, they have a station together called OWN, and they don't put anything on that can further anybody in any consciousness. Okay, that's fine. They want to be put on entertainment, that's okay. But as billionaires, Oprah has let Chicago disintegrate. Now flip that. Here you have Bill Gates, who's a billionaire, and he looks around the country and says, well, I don't want to see urban schools disintegrate. So he started, well, his wife started the Gates Foundation, and part of the Gates Foundation is to try to fund schools to get them to be innovative, to get people to think. Now, those ideas never really get implemented on the ground because of, like in New York City, there's so much politics and stupidity built into the system. But even Bill Gates looked and said, I need to use my billions to develop urban people, a lot of them black. Oprah has billions and never thinks to develop urban people. Yeah, sure, she'll give an urban person a house, but that's not helping the people, and that's not even helping that person. So if we don't shift our thinking, um, reparations is not going to help us. Reparations is not going to further us or push us along. Um, we have to get into the immaterial world. We have to get into the world of the subconscious, the unconscious. We get into the world of consciousness. And we could change any problem that we have. For example, this right here, all my videos, my 2 blogs, the books I've written, they're all a system of study. So I tell people, why are you still going to public schools when your children can't read? Why aren't you using my system? But the idea of physically getting them dressed to go to a physical building, even though that building is failing us, we're doing it over and over because it's tangible. And that's the problem. So I'm all for reparations. If you wouldn't give me anything, I would take it. And I would just build this system of study that I'm doing to make it even better. I can use it to sustain myself to eat. I can use it to pay bills or whatever it is, to keep a roof over my head while I give you a system of study. But I'm not sure that reparations would necessarily help us. It wouldn't hurt. I think we should get something. But if we don't get our minds together, it doesn't matter what you give us. If any of my listeners or viewers or people in the chat room want to speak now, say something. Now's your chance. Going once, going twice. Okay, until next time. Oh, this will be my last hangout for a week or so because I'm going to visit my family, which I haven't seen or been around in years. And it should be interesting because I've grown in deeper consciousness since I've seen them last. They've all grown in whatever they're doing. So it's almost like we're meeting each other again for the first time. So I'll be filming things and I'll show you some of my some of the things I come across in my trip. So we'll be going, stopping in Virginia and then going on to South Carolina. So we'll see what happens. And until then, if I make it back, please, I'll see you then, and please, until then, take care of yourselves.